When my husband, Daniel, passed away suddenly from heart failure, I lost more than just a partner. I lost the one person who made me feel like I belonged. We had been married for 8 years. No children, just us. We built a quiet, modest life together, and while we didn't have much, we had each other. And that had always been enough. After his death, grief wrapped itself around me like a weighted blanket. But before I could even process the shock, Daniel's family swooped in, especially his sister, Vanessa. Vanessa had never liked me. She called me a leech when Daniel and I first married. To her, I was just a nobody. A woman from a small town who hadn't finished college and didn't come from money. She came from a corporate world, always dressed like she was headed to a power meeting, even at Christmas dinner. She called me a parasite at the wake, loudly in front of Daniel's coworkers and friends. I always knew she was just waiting to cash out. What she didn't know was that Daniel left everything to me, not out of spite, but because we loved each other, and because we lived in the home together. His insurance, savings, and our joint property all in my name now, legally airtight. 3 weeks after the funeral, Vanessa showed up at my door, not with condolences. She demanded that I do the right thing and hand over the family vacation house in Vermont, the so-called new home she had been boasting about on social media for months. Apparently, she had already moved her things into it and told her friends she had inherited it from her brother. She didn't know that the deed had quietly been transferred into my name after Daniel paid off the mortgage last year. Her name was never on it. She called me a fraud, con artist. She said, "You don't deserve any of this. You manipulated Daniel. You lived off him." But I had proof that we built our life together. I had paid bills, managed repairs, worked part-time to support us when Daniel started his own business. We had been a team even if no one else in his family ever cared to see it. That's when I decided I was done playing the grieving widow. I called a realtor the next day. The Vermont house, her new home, had been sitting underused for years. Daniel and I had only visited a few times, and I had no emotional ties to it. But Vanessa had already moved in, furnishing it with expensive decor and bragging online about fresh starts and manifesting dreams. When I listed the property, she lost her mind. She claimed she had rights. She threatened to sue. But my lawyer calmly reminded her that squatters don't win lawsuits, and that every piece of documentation showed I was the sole owner. She had 30 days to vacate. She begged. Then she tried bribery. Then threats. None of it mattered. The house sold within 2 weeks to a lovely retired couple who paid in cash. On moving day, Vanessa still hadn't cleared out her belongings. I sent them to her, postage due. But the twist? I used the profit from the house to open a small wellness studio in town. Something Daniel and I had dreamed of starting together but never had the chance. I named it Oak and Haven, after the tree we carved our initials into during our first trip to Vermont. His life insurance covered the startup costs. The house sale funded the lease and renovations. Every time I unlock the door, I feel him beside me. Vanessa tried to smear my name online. She told everyone I'd stolen her home. But when people asked for details, she had nothing but fury and fiction. Eventually, even her closest friends distanced themselves. She left the city a few months later. Last I heard, she was living in a rented condo with 3 roommates, still trying to get back into the life she thought she was owed. I didn't set out for revenge, but I won't apologize for protecting what Daniel and I built, or for turning venom into fuel. Sometimes justice doesn't come in the form of punishment. Sometimes it comes as peace. And sometimes the best revenge is a life beautifully lived without them.